Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. I am super excited about this hashtag which was created by Robin over at Robin's Reflections called Beetlejuice Tarot Tag. I am in love with the Beetlejuice movie. This is a very nostalgia childhood movie for me. And I'm going to be seeing the second Beetlejuice this weekend. So I figured this is the perfect time to jump on this tag. So thank you, Robin, for creating this lovely hashtag. So I'm going to put Beetlejuice right here. Can't keep him too out of sight. So the hashtag is prompts, but they're in prompts of as in a classic quote from the OG movie, which I really, really love. So the first prompt quote is, "It's showtime." A deck that feels cinematic. So of course, I don't have that many cinematic decks, but I did think of the Tarot of the Vampires by Charles Harrington, illustrated by Craig Mayer. This is a Llewellyn deck, so you will see quite a few Llewellyn decks in this video. When I think of cinematic, I think explosions, I think action, right? And unfortunately, I don't have that many decks. So Tarot of the Vampires does that for me. It reminds me of Twilight. It reminds me of Blade, which is, oh my gosh, one of my probably favorite vampire franchises. Probably my only favorite vampire franchise. But this deck is bold, it's colorful, it's in your face. It's a little bit weird in terms of like, oh wait, I have to like really think about what's going on in this card. What does the actual essence of the card means and how it correlates to the imagery in this card or in these cards. I highly recommend you reading the guidebook front and back because it is a fabulous guidebook that really makes the cards they just really make the cards really relate to the core essence of the classic imagery, which I really, really love. Of course, I will try to put all of the video reviews of these decks in the description box below. Some of them I have not reviewed yet. For the guidebook, it's full color of the card, and then you have great descriptions of what's going on in the card and how this imagery relates to the core meaning of the card. The second prompt slash quote is,
"I'm the ghost with the most, babe."
I chose the Horror Tarot by Todd Alcott. So the ghost with the most quote or prompt is a ghoulish deck. And this is one of my newest acquisitions in my deck library. This is a deck that is very ghoulish. It's very throwback to all the classic movie monsters, the comic books, these novels. It's just really fun to actually look at the cards. I love these backs. Some of these cards are movie posters. So these would be the classic movie posters. So you got Dracula, another Dracula, Nosferatu. These are the classic movie monster posters. And then, ooh, look at this. Ghoulish, right? Then going into the cups. These are going to be like the horror novels covers. You know, sometimes when I think of some classic horror movie novels, I really think of the covers. They really gravitate and really pull you in. And then going into the swords, which is probably my favorite. These reminds me of the Tales from the Crypt comic book covers. I love that. And then the pentacles. These are also classic movie horror imagery. The next prompt slash quote is,
I myself am strange and unusual.
This is a deck that's weird but lovable. So speaking of ghoulish, I could have chosen the Trick or Treat Tarot for prompt 2, but I think this really fits in with I'm weird but very lovable. I am a huge Halloween fan. Look at these backs. Love it. This is basically a deck that is all focused on Halloween night and all of the creatures and people and kind of activities that you will do on Halloween night. And sometimes it's, they're weird, right? But you love doing it because they are a tradition. Some of these cards are like, whoa, there's a lot going on here. But you have to think of it as every person in this card is dressed up as a look at this. Yikes. Every person is dressed up to the nines for the Halloween night. The guidebook is absolutely fantastic. It is a Llewellyn deck. Highly recommend reading the guidebook because it is fun. You get to understand what exactly is going on. Probably one of my favorite High Priestess cards. The guidebook, of course, full color of the card, has some meanings behind the card with the keywords in reverse, and it goes into a description of what's going on in the card and how it relates to the essence of the core meanings. The next prompt is
My whole life is a dark room.
it is a deck that's photographic or a deck that feels like you're looking into a photo. This was an easy choice, folks. I chose the Tarot of Oneness. This is an indie deck. I'm not sure if it's still available, but it is gorgeous if you can get a hold of it. So when I look at these cards, I am literally thinking someone took, this is like in the first perspective of the person who is in control of this card. I really feel like it's just so, even though it's like not necessarily photogenic, or photographic, it feels like this could easily be someone who took that photo. Like, look at this. Even though minus, these little things floating, kind of like, it just feels very, like, it just feels like it could be real. And it's beautiful colors, bright, bold, and it just look at this. It's beautiful. Got some details here. This is all black and white except right up here. This deck could also have been for the deck that's in the next prompt coming up, but I decided on something else, which you shall see. Like, look at this. Beautiful. And the guidebook is really nice. It is a thick, chunky guidebook, full color, and it's actually really surprisingly much in detail, considering like it's short and stubby guidebook. The next prompt is
Nice fucking model!
this is all about the details, details, and details. A deck that shines in the you-know-what details. So I chose the Out of Hand Tarot. This is another indie deck. I believe this is out of print, but if you like this artwork, I believe the creator is making a mini version of this, which is fantastic. This is also a deck that's in the first person's perspective. And what I really like about this deck, when it comes to the details, there's a lot going on here, but the creator put in the traditional classic RWS artwork or symbolism so that it makes sense. So you have some classic imagery here with the, I guess, the dove, and then this little image here for the Ace of Cups. See, you have all the classic imagery here, or the symbols. So they definitely did not want to miss the opportunity to incorporate that classic symbolism in their own take on those cards, which I find these cards are beautiful. I just really love the artistic view of what's going on in these cards. It feels very relatable, I have to say. And the guidebook is fantastic. Of course, it is a short little guidebook, but what I really like about this is that the artist had put in drawing notes of what they wanted to, or how they were inspired to create this artwork and how it correlates to the card, and it also includes the Easter eggs, which I really like about this deck. Next prompt slash quote is,
I don't think we survived the crash.
a deck that brings the harsh truths into the light. Folks, the one deck that I immediately thought of is the Lightseer's Tarot. This is a deck by Chris Ann. It's very well known in our community, and rightfully so. This is a deck that is very expressive. That's why I really, really like this deck. The Three of Swords this is a fantastic way of expressing how the Three of Swords is. All right, it's very painful. I just really like how it's very expressive. It does not hold back. I really like the guidebook, of course. Oh my gosh. But this is a deck that initially I did not like when I looked at the artwork before it even came into my deck library. But once I had it in my hands, there was something magical about it. The expressions, these characters, every character in this deck has some type of hold within the cards. They have like a personality, and that's just something that is very magical about it. The guidebook, Chris Ann does fantastic work on guidebooks. So the Light Seer here is just the keywords, the upright. The Shadow Seer is the reversal keywords. And then it talks about, the core meaning of the card. And then also gives like a motivational tip, not a motivational tip, but like a mantra or something of that sort of like how this, if it was speaking to you, this is what they would say. Really love that. And the last quote and prompt is,
and you let Beetlejuice out and didn't put him back.
a deck that can get a little out of pocket sometimes. So the way Robin explained this prompt is, when you think of Beetlejuice himself, he is okay if you monitor what he's doing. But when you let him out of your sight, he can basically do whatever he wants. He has the freedom to get out of pocket, get out of hand. And that's something that you not necessarily want to happen, right? So for this prompt, I chose the Everyday Witch Tarot, my Grand Dame. Everyone knows I love this deck. This is one of my very first tarot decks that I ever got in my deck library, and it is fantastic. It is a very whimsical deck, fantasy. It's a very Harry Pottery deck, which is fine. Not a big Harry Potter fan, but I love everything about this deck. So the reason I chose this is that it is a very fanciful world, a whimsical world, but it does not hold back in terms of, that it does not shy away from the hard truths of tarot. But when it comes to Beetlejuice, it is, like, again, going back into that fantasy world, it is magical. And it's a deck that is sassy. It's a deck that is, it can be a little mean-spirited, but it's trying to help you in a way, but the way they're coming across, kind of like Beetlejuice, he doesn't have necessarily good intentions. He's just very misunderstood. So I think with the characters in this deck, I kind of sense how they correlate, or how they kind of relate to Beetlejuice in some way. I wouldn't put a lot in that, but just this whole world of being in fantasy and magical and just being, kind of sassy. It just kind of fits the prompt and the quote. The guidebook, fantastic. Deborah Blake, fantastic. I love that you get the full card here. You also get like a quote that would kind of pertain to the moon. Then you have a synopsis of what the card means, and then it goes into detail of what's going on, and then things to consider, kind of like journal quotes. Not journal quotes, but journal prompts. Have some extra here, and then it has a full page of notes here. This is one of my favorite decks, and I just can't say enough about it. Well, folks, that was the end of the Beetlejuice Tarot tag from Robin's Reflections. Robin, thank you so much for creating this really fun hashtag. It was super interesting to see what I would pick with these prompts. Folks, let me know in the comments below what decks you have that you think would go well with the prompts in the tag. And let me know if you've seen the movie or in the new movie. Let me know in the comments below, and I hope you enjoyed watching this video, as I've had much fun doing this video. So thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.